All right, welcome to episode 2 of Course Corrections. Robby here. It's been a good first month. We're about midway through the first set of lessons with the stack system. That thing's awesome. I think you guys all need to go check it out if you want to work on your swing speed, but also work on your swing path in general. Arccos has been great. We've been playing more rounds of golf, so we're getting more stats, more data that will help us practice better. We just actually need to do that to get better. So I hope you appreciate and enjoy the conversations Jonathan and I had, one coming off the course after playing together one time, and then also we got together and chatted a little more, sharing some stats about where we are and what we need to work on. So y'all enjoy episode 2 of Course Corrections. All right, Jonathan. Today's the 29th-ish
Yeah,
of January. You've only played 27 holes.
I've been out twice.
I think I've played one or two more times than that.
Yeah.
Today was not a good day.
Today was a nice, bright, sunny, semi-warm day. And it would have been great probably doing anything but golf.
No.
I mean, it's fun play. It's good to be out playing golf, but golly, that was brutal. It was brutal.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
We did not play our best.
Negative.
We didn't play our worst.
I
think what I'm frustrated about is I was trending in a really good direction.
Right.
I've been in the low 80s, high 70s the last 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And shot at 88 today. So
Yep.
had 4 doubles, which that makes 5 on the year out of 3, 4, 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So over that course period of time, that's okay. But
You got your one birdie today.
I only had one birdie today.
One birdie.
So we played at Wildcat here at Fort Jackson. My goal is to try to birdie as many as I can. I got 1 today. I got 2 today.
Hole number 16's out of the way.
I got 2 today. I got number 7.
Oh, you did? 2.
I made a long putt. It was
right.
awesome. That's when I thought I was going to turn it around.
The only reason I didn't shoot a 120 is because I putted like I was on fire on the front 9. Unfortunately, they were all double bogey saves.
Yeah.
But that was a good putting round, and then the rest just derailed.
Yeah.
I should have kept my driver and my 3-wood in the bag because I haven't played. I haven't practiced. I haven't swung it, and I would have scored a lot better if I had just stuck with my irons.
But I still say, once the round's out of hand, why not try it? Why not use that time to practice it?
Mental state of mind.
You were not in a good mental state.
I was not in a good mental state after.
Everybody on the course would agree. You were vocal on a number of...
I said, gosh darn it. Like, literally, gosh darn it. Not like subbing it for the podcast. I said, gosh darn it, very loud at least twice.
It was more than that. If we'd had audio rolling...
3 times. If we had audio rolling, we'd have to beep out stuff because there were lots of things that I said underneath my breath. So, as it turns out, if you don't have a lot of time to practice, or you don't take the time to practice, and you don't play golf consistently, you're still just as bad as you are whenever you started.
But we're going to improve.
But we're going to get better. We're going to practice
Have you
more.
signed up for lessons yet?
I have not signed up for lessons.
Are you going to?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I want to go. I don't know who I want to do lessons with.
Is there anybody at Bartram there? Or go to the driving range that we went to down in Augusta?
There's people that provide lessons. I'd like to maybe consistently hit the ball on a weekly basis and see if I can just hone in some.
Go get your initial lessons. Go say, hey, I want 3 lessons. Work with me.
Tell me how bad I really am.
Well, they're not going to tell you that. They want to keep you coming back, so they want you to get better.
That's true.
It's kind of like caddies, right? They're your biggest fans.
That's true.
Get lessons. When we pull up Arccos, we'll pull it up and have a little follow-up on this to see where it says we need to practice, and that's where we need to go practice. So I lost strokes all across the entire So here's why
day.
you need to figure out your distance and your drivers. You lost 10 strokes to scratch today on driving.
Yeah, because I hit it in the woods every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, a 5-iron, I'd have been at least probably 20 yards, 30 yards behind, but not lost.
You lost a couple of them, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a good day of golf.
It's just a bad day of golf.
It's a good day to learn.
Yeah.
And we're going to take the data that the Arccos gave us, and we're going to keep getting stronger.
Yep.
Jonathan's going to figure out how to hit some woods, because we got some big golf coming up. It's going to be fun. So,
Gotta be able to hit the wood.
all right. So the very next day after playing with Jonathan, I met another friend and went out to the same course, Fort Jackson, Wildcat course. Here's some audio following that round.
Well, that's back-to-back 88s. I think I added 3 doubles a couple days ago. Today it was 4 doubles and a triple. So we're moving in the right direction. Oh no, the wrong direction. I'm hitting it okay, I think. My short game's killing me. I'm not playing smart. I need to listen or read some John Sherman. And yeah, my short game is not good enough to get cute with anything. So I need to try to hit the center of the greens. I don't know what's happened to my irons. And this is my life in golf, right? Like 3 weeks ago, I was hitting my irons the best I've ever hit them in a long time. The last 2 times I've played, my 288s, I've hit them very poorly. It's not fun, because then, probably not for most people, but mentally, I don't feel good standing over it anymore. Confidence, all gone. So we've got some pretty fun rounds coming up. Going to the beach here in a couple weeks. I don't want to be doing this. I'd much rather be back in those low 80s, high 70s. Because we're going to be playing with some good folks. And yeah, let us golf. Beautiful day. And we'll keep getting better.
It's been mentioned before that when I do my stack workouts, I have to go outside. That's just based on house space, things like that. Jonathan, however, can do his in the luxury of his kind of room where he has his pool table. He's got plenty of room. He can stand in the heated space of his house and do it. Maybe to add a little salt in the wounds, I get a call the other day with this message.
Come on, man. We are driving away with a sim setup. Golf is going to be inside, outside, and all the time. Let's go.
Jonathan, I guess as we consider, now a month into our plan for course corrections,
Yeah.
what are your overall thoughts? Like, are you happy with what we're doing? Are you happy with any progress you've made? I know it's been kind of cold. We had a week of snow. What's your excitement level maybe on a scale here?
Well, I think the excitement level is the fact that we're actually going to just be focused on getting better at golf. And if anyone tells you that they started a program and a month later they were much better at golf, they are lying to you. Because you don't fix. I mean, how many of us have gone out and been like, I think I figured it out on hole 2. And by hole 12, we have completely not figured it out. So I think there's been, I think I've said in the last month, as ridiculous as the last statement was, I think I figured something out. And then as it turns out, I have not. So I think it's a progression of being more focused on getting better, playing better, and at the same time making sure that you don't, just because you have a bad hole doesn't mean you had a bad day. So
Have you found yourself being able to take? Because I mean, one thing they talk about Scotty Scheffler is his ability to rebound. Like he's the best rebound player. To a bogey, he would be the one that would immediately get a birdie or something. Have you found that you're able to shake off the bad shots?
there's no birdie to recover in mine. I think the other day I was playing by myself. As you know, we're walking in a couple months, and so I was like, I need to go out and walk. So I went out. I was walking by myself. I was on the back nine, and I had a shot that it's a par four dog leg left, and I pulled out my iron like I normally would do, and I was like, you know what? If I hit the ball further, even if it's out of bounds, or I lose it off to the left, I still will be closer to the hole to come up with something. And so, more of forcing myself to play the golf shot that probably should be played, from the perspective of at some point you have to hit your 3-wood or your driver in order to get better at a 3-wood or a driver. I'm not in competition. It wasn't even like hey, we're going to have to spend 10 minutes finding my ball with the rest of the foursome. There was no one around. I had already played the first 9 in an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. And I was, keeping up pretty much that same pace along because, it's just me in a bag, right? So I didn't have to worry about anybody else. I didn't have to worry about the cart path only or anything. It was just like grab your bag whenever you hit a shot and walk up there and do it again. And so 6 months ago or 3 months ago or anytime before we started this whole concept, I probably would have just said, I'm going to keep this in the bag the rest of the day and I'm going to only hit my iron. And so even those small things of, all right, at some point I have to figure out how to get better at this. Yesterday I went out and played and I was with a guy and he was hitting some pretty good bombs. We both ended up with the same score, but it was one of those deals where it's like, okay, I do have a fairway that allows me to make the mistake that's going to be made with my 3-wood. It is absolutely going to go to the left. But because of the way the course was laid out and because of the way that particular hole was, I could go ahead and use it. Now, I also played smarter, right? Don't make stupid mistakes. There were a couple holes where I also pulled out my 5-iron on purpose because of the way the course was laid out. Like we were on
I think that's wise, right? Like
right.
Knowing when to go for it and when not to.
Right. I mean, so the good example for me, I think, is number 7 out at Bartram. It's a very straight par 4. We're playing from the whites. My 5-iron, if I hit it even halfway decent, is going to get me to about 150 to 130 yard downhill to the green shot. And so I was like, I'm going to eliminate hitting it into somebody's backyard off to the left. And instead, I'm just going to hit my 5-iron out there like normal. And I think I chunked it a little bit, left it short, had a great, I think it was either 9-iron or a gap wedge into the green, and had a putt for par. Or had a putt for birdie. I think I 3-putted that stupid hole. But anyway, those are things that just thinking through how that works and what that looks like. So,
well, you and I played, a couple weeks ago?
We played at Wildcat. Yeah.
Yeah, I played at Fort Jackson, the Wildcat course. And I threw out something because you weren't playing great. I think you were getting a little frustrated with some of your shots that were getting a little offline. And I made the comment, and I'm curious what others think. I made the comment that, hey, why don't you hit your driver? It's kind of a, we are playing for a score.
Right.
But at a certain point in a round, my suggestion was hit your driver because you're not going to lose anything. Maybe a ball or two,
ball.
but but you know what I'm saying? You could use that as practice because, how much and how often are you actually saying, all right, I'm going to go practice and hit my driver on the range 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And why not put it in play and try it there?
Well, putting it in play is definitely a bad phraseology because nothing gets. But
can you
play.
not can we not flip the script and say, you know what? And I know I am the exact same way. If I'm playing around, I am playing for a score on that hole.
Yeah.
But is there a way that we can flip the script or the switch and say, score out the window? I'm not even going to write anything down anymore. I'm going to hit driver because I need to figure out how to hit a driver.
Yeah, I think for me, if I had regularly misused a driver for the last 3 to 5 years, then I would 100% be like, because you've never not used a driver, right? There's never been a round of golf that you've gone out where you've just kept it in the bag. And I didn't even have a driver for a long time. And so I think for me, I know, and this goes back to, it's been January. I had an anniversary trip that I was gone for a week, then it snowed for a week and all that. I purposefully, when we started this, I bought a prepackaged deal at the local driving range. So that way it's like already budgeted, it's already money spent. I can go out there without feeling guilty and spend more time hitting golf balls with intent, right? As opposed to on the course, trying to figure out because I'm very steep with my irons. I can't obviously be that steep with my woods. So I've got to sort of figure it out. The 3-wood, for whatever reason, even though everyone says that's a hard club to hit, is much cleaner for me than my driver. I don't know if I don't know anything about the golf swing and the golf ball, but I'm assuming I come inside out with an open face. It creates a lot of, I would call it curveball spin in my previous baseball days, right? That sort of move that makes it go way out to the left-hand side for me. But somehow my 3-wood doesn't cause as much spin. My irons are under a whole lot more control. So I think, yes, I should probably hit the driver more often. I'm definitely more comfortable hitting the 3-wood. But the reality is I just need to hit my driver more often. Like I need to go to the range and spend maybe an entire session of just driver and trying to figure out where am I meeting the ball with the most square face that I can in terms of my balance, the ball placement, hand placement, all that kind of stuff. Those are all things that I think you just kind of have to figure out.
You know how it could help you figure out, right?
I'm pretty sure you're going to say lessons.
Lessons.
Yeah, I know.
I did a little research for you there in Augusta and
Yeah.
sent you a couple options. I know you've got a couple other ones too, but like you said, figuring it out, there's one thing. I've tried to figure out a lot of things on my own in life,
Yeah.
and I do a lot better when somebody else is like, "No, actually, here's how you do something," and it shortens the learning curve. So
Yeah.
that would again be another suggestion of find a good spot, somebody that you can walk up to and is like, "Hey, I don't hit a driver. I hit my irons fairly well. I need to figure out how to driver because I'm trying to save some distance on my next shot,
Yeah.
and keep this thing in play." So,
Well, after
all right.
yesterday, I don't know how to hit irons either, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So 2 lessons, one for the driver, one for the irons.
Then I'll be solid. They'll be
But
gold.
man, we went out early and we hit your new irons.
my
and,
gosh.
and it was just one like a little alignment thing,
Right.
Because of the stiffness in the iron shafts, allowed you to have, instead of a giant slice, it was a
Right.
controlled 2-yard fade.
Right.
And then we played that day. We played 9, and you were
I was on
striking it.
fire. Yeah, so I think for everyone else, for the other 2 people that might be listening to this and going, well, I'm not very good at golf. So I'm a 21 handicap, right? So part of this is expectation.
So let's say 21 handicap. Like you started keeping your handicap
6 rounds ago, maybe.
6 rounds, yeah, and we entered in some rounds from
That's
this
right.
past year that we could find scorecards for.
Right.
So and where did you start?
I started at 20.7,
And now it's reading what?
21.
Okay, so you've gotten worse.
Yes.
All right, not course corrections. Good job.
No, it is a correction. It's just a correction in a different direction. No, I mean, so I think for me, I had that one round last year at Tobacco Road where I was striking the ball well that day. I had some good recoveries. I had a couple shots that would probably just be considered lucky. I mean, I hit a birdie from 70 yards out or something like that, right? At some point, that is just luck. Even if you're really good, it's still luck. And I shot a 90. And I think the reset in my head was, oh, I can do this now at 90. And that's not a reality for someone with a 21 handicap. So whenever we played last week, I think I shot a 103 and was probably frustrated to the point of 120, right? And yesterday there was a moment where I shot a 51 on the front and I thought about getting super frustrated. And then I thought, wait a minute, no, Jonathan, this is who you are. This is where you are in your golf game. Shooting a 40 to 45 on 9 is not normal for you and probably not feasible at this point in my golf world. So why not be okay with the 51 and then just try to shoot not a 51 on the back, which is kind of the approach that I took, going, okay, that was a 51. Let's not get another 51 and see if I can stay under 100. And so, like, it's kind of like what you've talked about, right? I think the other day you went out and played, you shot, was it a 78 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you shot an 88. Well, that's your golf.
Twice, yeah.
But that is your golf game. An 85 to an 88 is what, an 8 point whatever. What's your handicap right now?
8.5.
Isn't that exactly the scoring you'd expect from someone in an 8.5? You can shoot anywhere from 78 probably to 95, right?
I hope I don't touch 90 anymore.
Exactly. So my goal, and by the way, this is this is a huge plug for Arccos. So whenever you're looking at Arccos, if you're just starting off, it's going to show you gain stroke, gains loss, blah, 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 blah.
We'll get into that more here in a second.
Okay,
go ahead.
because that one just killed me.
No, so, okay. So we talked your handicap. Mine, starting the year, I was an 8.8. And yes, I've dropped to an 8.5.
I've got your 0.3. Thanks for giving that to me. I appreciate it.
You found it. You found it good. But no, I mean, I've intentionally, and I believe it is because of this series, I have gone out and played, from beginning of the year, I played 18 with my son on January 1st. I've played 5.5 rounds of golf to this date. And it's crazy. Yeah, at the end of December, I did go out and shoot a 78 at Chichesi. It was ridiculous. Like, it was one of those days we talk about, like you said earlier, the consistency of your golf game. I was hitting my drives, a nice, easy little cut. It was finding fairways on a narrow course. I was hitting most of the greens. And it was great. Like, I felt amazing. And then I've gone out in the last 2 weeks and thrown up 288s because driving was a little wayward, and my irons kind of went skew. Although our fearful phrase, I think yesterday I figured something out, or I remembered something that I had been doing. So yesterday I played with a buddy, Nick, and we were out there playing. Nick's an incredible golfer. And side note, I think I talked to him, and I think we might have him and his dad on our podcast at some point. So that'd be fun. But so I shot a 47 on the front. And so I'm sitting there feeling like the same vibes. It's like, man, I've just thrown up 288s. This is horrible. And then, but my driver was incredible. Like, I was, and again, I think thanks to Stack, which we'll talk about here in a second. On the back nine, like, I figured out something on the irons that I had been doing, and I started doing it again, started hitting it better, and I shot a 38 on the back. So a nice 47-38 for a 85. So not where I want to be, obviously, but that, it's hard to make up from big numbers on the front.
Yeah.
And to come back and get a bad score. But I'd rather have the good score on my back nine, knowing that, all right, I'm carrying some momentum into my next round. So it's consistency, right? It's how do we, I think two things. How do we, for me, eliminate double bogeys? How for you, eliminate triple bogeys and then double bogeys? But then how do we be consistent from one swing to the next, one hole to the next, one round to the next? And I think that's what we're trying to figure out. And the more we can do that with each aspect of our game, driving, approach shots, short game, putting, the more we can narrow those things down. And like you're referencing, we'll talk about here in a second, the Arccos stuff that shows us where we need to improve and practice, the more those handicap numbers will keep dropping. So anyway, let's talk for a second about Stack.
Yeah.
I mentioned yesterday my driving was great. I do feel like I'm hitting it longer. I did the baseline, and now I've done 8 out of 18 sessions during the foundation training period. I feel like I am engaging my core more with my driver swing, which I then put into play these last few times. And again, I missed 2 of 14 fairways yesterday, and they were
Okay.
One was barely off into like some light rough, and the other one was, I don't know, maybe 5 yards off into a fairway bunker. So it wasn't big misses. I was
Right.
still able to play my second shot without having to punch out, which was awesome. But I think the stack helped. I look at my distances, and I'm hitting the ball a little bit farther, and it was, man, it's been fun. What do you think about stack so far?
So I think it's been fun swinging a club in some cases as hard as you possibly can. I do like the fact that it says distance potential. That
Yeah.
potential is like, if you actually could hit a ball with a square head, then it'd probably go a long way. So, like my speed's gone up, my driver speed's gone up. I'm at session number 4 completed. So I'm supposed to do 5 today. I did have a week where didn't bring anything with me for my anniversary. So you're a little bit ahead of me. It's definitely thinking through. So I do it in my rec room, and on my floor, I've got tiles down. And so I'm able to literally line myself up with my feet.
How many times have you hit the floor?
Twice. But yeah, twice. Not a lot though.
The head on that stack will put a little dent in the floor. You better watch out.
It's got a little bit of a yellow mark on my floor, on my black floor. It's not that big of a deal.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm able to line everything up. So even as I'm coming through, I mean, it's a yellow head with a yellow stick. So whenever it comes across, I can see immediately where my club head's coming through. Like, am I on line with it? Am I coming across? Am I pulling out? And so that's been helpful. And then I just go back to, sometimes the hardest thing to do is just know what to do next. And it tells you exactly what to do next. I can't say that enough. It's kind of like if you have an app for working out. My son is playing football. Unfortunately, I have to work out with him so I can stay a little bit stronger than him. And so I'm working out, and we literally just open up the app. It tells us exactly how many reps, how many sets, what percentage of weight or what weight we're supposed to be doing, and you just do it. And so for anyone that's trying to figure out, like, well, I want to increase my speed, what's the first step in doing that? Because I wouldn't have known. Get the stack system, just simply do what it says. And I'll tell you what it's done for me more than anything. The last couple times that I've gone to play, I've thought about warming up.
Which has helped what?
Nothing apparently, because my score has I'm less sore. I mean, you and I play a lot together, and I always, by the 13th or 14th hole, I'm dragging. There's a moment where I'm just like, my body just quit on all of this, and that hasn't happened. Like I walked the 5.8 miles the other day, and even at the end, my swing was still intact. The ball still had flight to it. And so I don't think that's anything other than when I got there, I made sure to be mindful of warming up. Whenever I haven't had chances to warm up, I've also kept my relative, what's the term? Not excitement, just being relative to what to expect, right? Like if you get there late and you know you got to take 2 off the first, don't swing hard. Maybe do grab the iron that's a 7 iron and just make sure it's punched out there. And then I mean, we're going to get into this conversation with more people, I think. But walking versus riding, I've always liked walking courses. If you can find ones that don't have neighborhoods built into them, I think it's even better. So
yeah. So you mentioned your stuff's improving. Do you have there with you what your club speed has increased so far in your training, and also the distance potential? And now the distance potential, I think it takes into account, the max effort swing, kind of the last thing that when people start doing the workouts, it's like, all right, these are the swings where you could even probably fall off balance a little bit. So where are you now? What has in your sessions so far, where would you see your club speed go, and how about your distance?
where does it tell you that information?
Yeah, so if you're looking at your Keep Going Jonathan Hill, the main screen there,
Yeah.
if you go to share progress,
Oh, okay.
yep, click on that. So I'll
All right.
start mine in my however many sessions have I done? 8 sessions of the 18.
Oh,
I
look at
have
that.
gained 11 miles an hour
Okay.
in my club speed, and it says distance, um, 29 yards.
Yep.
So
So I found
yeah,
mine.
what do you got?
I started off at 99 club speed. I'm at 108, so I've gone up 9 miles an hour. And my distance has gone from 273 to 302, so I'm up 29 yards as well.
Very nice.
Heck yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, so it's working. I think we are both impressed. I'd say it's working on the course too, because again, I was very pleased with distances I had yesterday. And I played Wildcat at Fort Jackson, which I've played a number of times. And one big example, hole number two, is a dogleg right around these thin pine trees. And normally I had to play far enough left because I would get blocked off by these trees. Now I can kind of take it straight down the middle. And the last couple times I've played, I have sailed it straight past these trees to where I then have a clear shot. So I'm cutting down distance in my second shot because I'm increasing swing speed, hitting it a little farther.
Well, and I think, it's a weighted program, as we've talked about. There's a certain number of swings that you do, things like that. And I go back to when I played baseball in college, I had a strong core, right? Because you would throw and twist and turn every single day. You would swing over and over again. And so seriously, just by the fact of being able to finish a round because your core isn't disengaged and you're flailing all over the place, I think there's a lot of that within the stack system because sometimes you put a heavy weight on there and you're like, golly, this does not feel like a regular golf club, but it's intended to be, excuse me,
Yeah.
it's intended to be training you to do something like that. So, it besides it going into your driver, clearly, if your swing speed gets up, then your irons are, in theory, going to travel further as well. So maybe we'll get to where we're Bryson and we're hitting a pitching wedge 190 yards, like I saw the other day him do.
Wow. I don't know if I want to do that. I will
I would.
say,
That'd
you
be
talk
awesome.
about core. That was my remember, Robbie. This is what you were doing when
Yeah.
you were hitting your irons well. It was your core because I think, and this is not related to stack specifically, but I think I made the turn or hit a couple good shots, 8 and 9 yesterday, and then on the back nine, purposely remembered my core when hitting my iron shots, which I made better contact, hit the ball better,
Yeah.
all the above. So anyway, so stack system going great. Really like what it is, and I'm only 8 of 18 in my foundation session.
Right.
Haven't even touched the putting app part of it, and I'm excited to see where this thing will go and how it can make us better. So, Arccos. All right,
Arccos.
you were mentioning them earlier.
Yeah.
What have you seen? And granted, you've played a handful of times using Arccos. The one thing I think it's shown me is like you said, driving, approach shot, short game, putting, where I am losing strokes for me compared to a scratch golfer. I'm 8.8 or 8.5 on the handicap, so I'm a good ways off from being scratch. I don't know if I'll ever get there,
Yep.
but it's showing me how I compare to it.
Right.
What do you think?
So same thing. We started off, and I was you just sign up, you turn it on. Again, probably the easiest plug and play thing that you could ever do from a golf statistic perspective, right? It just fills it in, makes it easy. But one of the things that was sort of disheartening is that you're looking at it. And I think at the time it was showing me like I'm losing 15 strokes because it's comparing against a scratch golfer. And like you just said, you're 8.8. Not sure if you're ever going to get to scratch, right? It's nice to have that information, sort of have some targets and stuff. Well, I found this nifty little thing where I could change my comparison. I'm like, wait a minute, what does that mean? And so, again, my game has not been great in the last two rounds. However, I now have reasonable numbers to approach. So, for example, I'm losing 6.4 strokes per game driving. A ton of that is because I'm losing balls, like off that drive. I know that. But also 6 strokes over 18 holes, or call it 15 holes once you throw in a couple par threes. All that means is that I've got to find the fairway half more times. In theory, right? Like there's some distance to it and stuff like that, but I'm a long hitter.
So, okay, so you're a long hitter, yes. And we talked about figuring out your driver. Do this one.
Right.
Go into the app,
Yep.
under player, it says, your strokes gain breakdown.
Yep.
Click on driving for me.
Yep. So it says I'm losing 6.4 strokes per round on your drives over the last 2 rounds.
All right. And now just scroll down just a little bit.
Yep. The distance versus
accuracy. Yeah.
Right.
Distance versus accuracy. What does it say you're losing because of distance?
So I'm only losing 2.2 for distance.
Okay.
I'm losing 2.7 for accuracy, but this is the kicker. I'm losing 1.5 for penalties. So my accuracy, because of how inaccurate it is, I am taking drops, right? Even if it's friendly game right now, what I may not have done, a year ago, I'm paying attention to because of this thing right here. So if you think about that, like if I fix my accuracy, which in theory reduces my penalties, all of a sudden I'm only 2 strokes off from distance when it comes to a 10 handicap. And my assumption is because of the arc of my mishaps, my accuracy, when I hit the ball straight, I hit the ball just like you and I, we talk about this all the time. We go out there and hit the ball. My 3-wood, if it's a solid strike on, and sometimes that's a consistent throughout the day, is at least 230 to 250. If we're playing from the whites, that's not a bad day for me. Like those are usually ends up being like a 9-iron or a pitching wedge of some kind to get to the hole. So I look at the accuracy more than anything. I'm not as concerned about distance. I think I've got the swing speed, warming up, becoming limber. Continuing with the stack system is going to do nothing but change that. So Arccos is telling me if you fix this accuracy thing, you're probably going to get rid of the penalties because I feel like I've had at least, I'm probably getting 2 to 3 penalty shots per 9.
Okay.
And that most of them are happening on my drives.
Okay.
So,
well,
those are huge things.
Yeah. So you talk about accuracy. I pull up my driving. My distance, I'm losing 0.8 currently overall with the 1,200 shots that I've entered in this thing. Accuracy, I'm 0. So my accuracy is on par with a scratch golfer.
Nice.
Which is fun. Penalties,
Right.
I'm losing 0.2. My distance, right? That's what I'm losing 0.8 strokes on distance. But I go back and I look at yesterday, and I thought this was kind of fun. Yesterday, my driving, I was 0.9 in the positive overall on my driving compared to a scratch golfer. And again, I hit 12 of 14 fairways, barely missed the others. So, still distance. It was only a 0.3 distance difference in distance, but I was 1.1 on the positive side compared to a scratch golfer because of the accuracy.
Yep.
So that's a lot of fun. Like, to see that.
To gamify it, especially, when you get at the end of a round and you said you shot a not a great front 9 and a good back 9 to recover, right?
Yeah.
But then whenever you look at it and go, wait a minute, I'm focusing on the right things. I think maybe that's it more than anything. Now it allows you to focus on the right things. So instead of you trying to figure out, well, how do I get an extra 10 yards? How do I get an extra 20 yards on my drive? As opposed to, what does your approach look like? Where are you losing the strokes, right?
And that's for me. That's
right.
it.
And so, like, I'm losing 6 strokes on my approach. Now, again, I'm a 21 handicap. I'm losing strokes everywhere. And also, my last 2 rounds have been a struggle rounds. So, like, as time goes on, and we keep using this, and it gathers more and more data, it really starts drilling down. I look at my distance. I'm losing most of it, as you would expect, from 150 to 174 yards. Because a 150 to 174 is where I'm probably pulling out a 7-iron. I've also got new clubs. I am trying to figure out how to use half irons instead of having an 8-iron or, the evens in place. But I'm only losing 0.2 from 200 yards, which means maybe I just need to leave myself 200 yards out. Then I'll be safe. No, I'm just joking. That's probably not the right way to think about that.
Yeah.
But it tells me from 100 yards, from 75 to 100 yards, I'm even.
Okay.
I'm hitting
even with a 10 handicap.
Even with a 10 handicap. And again, for me, scratch would be amazing. scratch is not happening in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
In the next 12 months, and it might be even a huge goal to think about, but I would like to be a 10 handicap by the end of the year. To have consistent enough golf to hit the ball as a 10 handicap would, and to expect that score to be anywhere between like 85, probably on a really good day, down to 95. I don't know. Breaking 80 would be something.
Yeah. Where are you losing your most strokes?
Oh, 100% for my driving.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 6.4 from driving, 6 from approach, 0.9 from short, and my putting. So the putting is one thing. I putt off the green a lot, and so it says that I'm losing 3 strokes for putting, but I've had a couple 3 putts, those types of things. I'm not as concerned about my putting. The biggest one is going to be the driving accuracy. And
it's not, I mean, driving and then approach seem to be fairly close, right?
That's
6
right.
point something and 6.
Right. And you think about, so the approach by distance. So this goes back to why are we using stack? Why are we looking at getting longer? And this goes to everything, right, in golf. If I can hit the ball, I lose 2.5 strokes at 150 to 174 yards. Once I bring that under 150, I gain an entire stroke right there. And if you put it within 100, that's even better. So I'm still going to be playing from the whites myself for a while. So if you think about,
any idea how far that measures out on at your course? You say whites. White's different everywhere, so you gotta be more specific. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know it was that much different.
I bet it's like 6,300 yards probably. But anyway, so all right, approach shot for me, and that's like Captain Obvious right there.
Right.
I'm losing 4.5, 4.4 strokes gained. Yesterday was horrendous. I think it was like 7 that I lost on approach shots. I'm curious, and this will kind of get into our practice, where we want to practice. So I'm going to pick approach. I click on Arccos, and it gives me some suggestions, the top 3 insights on what to work on. Shots from the fairway, I'm losing 2.6, and then it has what's really cool. Arccos gives you a tip, right? You can click on the tip. Practice drill. This is from Trillium Rose. She says, choose a target and a ball flight. How close can you land your ball without crossing your target line? For a fade, start the ball left of the target line and curve it back without crossing the line, and then set up parameters for points. So, 0 to 5 yards from the target line, 5 points, and so on. So, again, gamifying the practice routine, and that's something that they suggest in the shots from the fairway. But here's another one. Like I'm losing my 100 to 150 yard, I'm losing 1.6 shots. And Andrew Rice, who's the director of instruction, the club at Savannah Harbor, here on Arccos says, practice technique, be very disciplined about where you attempt to hit these important approach shots. Always make sure you're set up to favor the, quote, fat side of the green here. So, all right, for me, when I'm out 100, 150 yards, like, Robby, stop looking at the flag.
Right.
Figure out where the fat part of the green is, and kind of, hopefully, you've done some warm up. For me, it's varying by day and by shot or whatever. Like, are my irons going to kind of draw a little bit, or are they going to fade a little bit? My suggestion from Arccos, again, hit the fat part of the green. There's some other things I think I need to work on, but yeah, approach. That's where I need to work on it, because it's a shot for, like you were saying, the distances 125 to 150. I'm losing a stroke. 150 to 175 losing a stroke. I gotta do it better.
Yeah.
What suggestions what's one of the top 3 insights from Arccos that you want?
Where do you see the insights?
If you're under your player and overall,
okay, all
right, you see your strokes gained at the top.
Top 3 insights.
Yep. Scroll down.
Yep. So mine is driving.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's driving penalties is the first one, which I've known. I've been taking those penalties on purpose. Driving distance is a problem, mainly because my driving accuracy is my third most problem, and therefore all those compound. I think,
click on one. Like, look at one of pick one of those.
So I'm gonna pick accuracy.
Tip. Okay.
Because I
What's the
think,
Arccos tip say?
all right, improve accuracy off the tee. Review your driver left-right percentage miss stats. If your percentage miss is higher on the right side, tee up on the right side of the box, aim more down the left. If your higher percentage miss is left, tee up on the left, aim more to the right. So I do all those things. I aim very far to the right, knowing that it's not going to go that
Do
way.
you, and I guess I hadn't paid attention, do you line up on the side of the tee box like that
I do,
to give yourself extra
to
room?
give myself extra room. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 100%. I mean, we know it's 100%. I haven't used these for 2 years at least, and so just trying to figure that out. Because my guess is, and this goes back to, at some point you do have to decide to use whatever it is you got, right? You got to use your wood, you got to use the driver. There is a huge part of me, and if we were not doing this thing right now, I would already probably have quit and gone back to my 5-iron.
Okay.
Because I know I can hit my 5-iron about 200, 220. And if I find it, like, I'm losing 3 strokes per round by losing it with my driver. And I wouldn't be losing it with my iron.
So how much would you pay to eliminate the big miss?
This is the
right?
salesman in you right here.
No,
like
I mean,
if you were to get lessons,
if you dropped $100 one time,
I know, yeah,
and it gave you the wisdom and thought or idea of, oh, if I do this differently in my driver swing
Yeah.
or 3-wood swing off the tee box, then I would narrow the dispersion of my golf ball from 200 yards wide to now I'm down to 100 or 50, 75 yards wide. Like,
So
what price would you put on that? Like a one time
right.
for a more permanent fix, or at least like the mental, I know what I got to do. I just got to keep practicing it.
So my biggest fear in going to see is someone who gives lessons, right?
Ooh, I like this. Biggest fear? Tell me.
My biggest fear is they're going to be like, you suck so bad that we have to completely reconstruct everything you've ever thought about on a golf course. Now, I know that in theory, that's not what someone's supposed to say, right? I'm assuming if I were a person giving a lesson, I'd be like, hey, let's talk about what your goal looks like. What are your biggest concerns? Where would you be happy? What part about your game are you okay with? And so I'm assuming they're nice people, and they're not going to be like, this is quite possibly the worst I've ever seen in a golf swing, and nothing about this resembles golf.
I bet if a teaching pro out there, and if you're one of these teaching pros, I bet if they ever said you suck, you should do something different, like they are probably not a teaching pro anymore.
Yeah, like, have you considered adult baseball or adult softball leagues? Pickleball's really exciting.
What do they want? What do they want you to do? Right? They want you to do what?
They want me to get better and come back. Yes,
and tell your friends, like, guys, I used to hit the ball 2 miles each way, but I went and saw Jimmy over at the course at the driving range, and now I'm playing a lot better. Robby, come on down to Augusta. You need to come see Jimmy.
I know all those things are true, and yet that is 100%. It's not an issue of money. Like, I can go spend.
So it's a made up fear then. Like, just do it.
Oh, I don't. It's not made up. It's so bad.
But they're not going to say that.
I know.
Like, you look at stats all the time, right? Like, what is the average handicap? Like a 15?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah, I think it's around that.
So, John Combs, who just started the Southern State of Golf, he said he got a handicap and he punched his in, and it started out at a 33. Right? Like, there are people out there that are just figuring this thing out, and you're light years ahead of them. You're athletic, you play baseball, so you have great hand-eye coordination, and it's just and you look at golf swings. There's no perfect golf swing. Maybe an Adam Scott has the perfect looking golf swing, but Scotty Scheffler, his coach never said. I think it was Rick Smith. He never said, Scotty, we got to keep these feet still. He said, tweak this tiny little thing, and now you're number one in the world. So,
how about your biggest fear is that they come back and be like, Jonathan, you should have 5-iron. Like, you just don't bother.
Yeah.
I need to find someone for lessons.
I doubt they would tell you that.
I'm thinking through our travel schedule. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. All right, here's what I'll do.
Okay.
What's today?
Declaration. It's today's February 6th.
Today's February 6th. This will get released on next Tuesday or something.
Next Tuesday, yeah.
All right. I will have next Tuesday. Then we're home, and then we're gone. Okay. I will have one lesson, at least one lesson before March 1st.
Okay. Well,
I'm
if
gonna
nothing else, before we record our next course correction,
I'm
recap.
gonna go to Wedges and Woods. It's where I've got balls already prepaid to go out there on the range. I will talk to someone. Gosh, this feels like some sort of like write it down. I will talk to someone this afternoon.
Oh, it's getting published in the universe here.
I know.
Every one of our listener is going to hear this.
They're going to be like, yeah, I'll call this afternoon and ask about what it looks like to have a lesson from somebody, and I'll tell them like I can't do it next week. Got a golf trip, and
I will come back Tuesday. You can get it after that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I will make sure to schedule. I'll call today and I will schedule my first golf lesson for sometime next week.
I feel like if nothing else, we have reached a new milestone here.
Oh,
course corrections victory.
Shamed me into saying it publicly.
Not shamed. I have convinced you.
I'll tell you what, and this is again, we keep talking about it. There is a reality too. I would like to be able to shoot under 90. And I know that I am losing. Well, I just updated my Arccos to include more rounds, right? And I don't know, do you add that? How do you add it on top of each other? Yeah, I'm using 8.4 strokes just on my driving over the last 4 rounds. And let's see. 3 of those are in penalties. 3 of that is in distance. 2.5 is in accuracy. If I just fix that, I'm going to shoot under 90 on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
If I just get rid of the penalties.
It's not fix, it's improve that.
Yeah. But I mean, if I just get rid of the penalties, I will enjoy myself a lot more on a golf course. Because I do hit again, we talk about this. Bradley Funderburk mentioned to me one time I was playing. He's like, I've never seen such bad shot and great shots come from one person. And there are moments on the golf course where it's like, this guy has never actually touched a club in his life. And then there's other ones where I hit shots that look like a real golf shot that go exactly where they're supposed to go and usually go a pretty long way. So I will call this afternoon and I will book my first appointment and see if I can get it scheduled for next week.
I hope you ping me after that and give me an update on when that will happen. I might even include
of course,
the date when this show.
Well, shoot, we could just schedule it and you could come and videotape me and harass me the entire time.
No, not at all. Not at all.
We could take it straight to the course. As soon as I get my first lesson, we'll just go straight to the course and figure it out. Probably not going to do that.
We'll figure that out. We do have some good golf coming up, so I'm excited because if you figure that out, again, to say, for now, let's work on the driver. I think that'll be good.
That's a good goal. All right.
Yep. So, for me, I got to get out and practice the approach shots, short game. The last handful of rounds, I've been chunking a lot of stuff, which, again, I think I figured out what I was doing wrong on the back nine there. So we'll keep improving. That's what this is all about, right? So the competition we've got going on, update people on a couple things. So one competition is me double bogey avoidance, you triple bogey avoidance. Yep. So right now you've played 63 holes, so 3.5 rounds, and you have 9. You said 2 yesterday, is that right?
It is 2, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 yesterday. So you have 9 out of the 63 holes, which means 1 in every 7 holes you are triple bogey or worse.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I've played 99 holes, so I've played a couple extra rounds than you, and I've got 12, which is horrible. So that's 1 every 8.3 holes. And unfortunately, again, I was on a good streak. It's 11 of those 12 have come in the last 3 rounds.
Yeah, because you started off like 27 holes and
No,
one
I
double,
was
wasn't it?
45 holes with one double.
Golly, that's a good 45.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
the last 54 holes I've gotten 11. So,
yeah.
but only two yesterday, which is two more than I should have. But anyway, so we're getting there.
Yep.
Yeah, right now, we'll kind of average it out, and maybe we'll figure out at the end of the year what the ratio is or something. Because
What's your Wildcat birdie count right now?
yeah, so that's another thing that we're looking at. How many birdies we have. So right now I have three. I've birdied number 7, number 14, and number 16. So one par four and two of the par fives.
Nice.
And that's in 3 rounds, which is not good. Like I've missed a number of putts, but I've also had 2 bad days of playing golf. So able to sneak out three. Right now, looking at yours, you are parring as many as you can at Bartram Trail over there in Georgia. You have one, two, three, four, five
5.
pars.
Yeah, one birdie. Let's make that one clear. I did realize that a birdie also counts as better than par or as par.
Yes. Yep.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was playing yesterday, and on the back nine, the par five that I birdied, I barely missed the eagle putt, and
Oh,
yeah, and my buddy Nick said, "Would this like count twice?" I'm like, "No, it would count as me birdieing or better."
yeah.
So, but I didn't make it, so I don't have to worry about it. But a nice couple inch tap in birdie is always fun. So yeah, so that's where we're at. I've got a ways to go to catch up, but making birdies are hard, man.
Yeah,
Especially,
listen.
especially, I mean, hitting a driver well, but when you're sitting in the fairway and you've got an iron in hand, and mentally you don't have any confidence that
Right.
you can even get this on the green, much less get it to within a birdie putt. It's tough.
I would say this is probably the most difficult and also probably the most fair uh, competition we've done. Like, I mean, especially if you look like I'm a bogey, double bogey guy. Like for me, triple bogey. I mean, we just saw that. So for me to be able to do that, but you're still a long enough hitter. The fact that you've knocked out some of those par fives, that should be
Yeah, but
positive.
yeah, I mean that shows the driving is good because I'm two putting. I've two putted for both of those on the par fives. Two putted for both of those birdies.
Yeah, but as it gets warmer, the ball will travel better too. So your opportunity to get some shorter approach shots on some par fours, I think, and again, this is I think we both agree this is a stretch for both of us
Oh
to
yeah,
be able to like. I mean, clearly we're not birding every single hole or we're not 18 under or shooting par. So I think it's probably one of the most fair things because as we continue to improve our game, so let's say you knock off and you're down closer to a 5, those birdie opportunities are going to be more there. And if I can get down to, a 15 or so, that means over a course of time. Now, the real question will be like in December, are we just going to be playing one hole over and over and over again
nah,
until
man.
until we get to the par on it, or we'll be
No.
like, how'd you shoot today? I shot a 172, but I got the last 3 pars that I needed on the day.
Yep. Who knows? I mean,
Because
my handicap might go up unless I have a couple good rounds because, uh, your handicap takes the best 8 of your last 20 rounds, and two of the scores that are counting for me right now are an 82 and an 83, and those are within the next 3 rounds I play, those will go away. So, um, I need to have some low rounds at least to keep it at a 8.5.
that'll be interesting to think through when I get to my first 20 rounds. Maybe that should be, we should definitely talk about that. Because let's say what do we say about 4 or 5? How many have we inputted? Let me pull that up. Oh, shoot, I keep clicking fantasy golf instead of, there it is. Um,
Fantasy golf has to be the hardest thing to log into, and like
it's the most
it
inane, but
makes you
yeah,
re-log in
every
every time.
time.
I
Every time.
gave up on it. PGA Tour, y'all need to fix that. The
You gave
fantasy
up on it? What do
golf,
you mean?
I couldn't log into it yesterday. It kept making me want to re-sign up. I'm like, I'm signed up. I've got a PGA Tour account. Like, let me do my fantasy golf thing. And a side tangent.
I,
It's a mess.
I saved that particular page as a web app on my phone. So you can share it to your home screen so it just goes directly where I need it to go. I don't have to go anywhere else. It does
It's a
ask me to log in.
mess. It's
So
a mess. I've given up on that. Congrats, you win, or whoever else is keeping up with that in our group.
I'm winning.
It's a
I hope so.
mess. Yeah, you're going to blow everybody out of the water
This is
because you're the only one keeping up with it.
Yeah, the only thing I'm excited. The first time I've ever done fantasy, y'all are going to quit on me. All right,
Yeah.
it says that I've got 13 total scores because we inputted some from last year. So my high's a 107, my low's a 96, and my average is 101.6. So I would prefer that my average. I think I'd be happy if my average was closer to 95.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we got to keep it dropping.
yeah. I hit
Well,
107. Oh, Landman. Landman was tough.
Yeah, those are scores that, I mean, I bet again that's why you got to, like I mentioned earlier, you got to enter those scores while right after you play, if not while you're playing, so that the conditions, weather or whatever else can be factored in, because it was a little windy at Landman.
Just a little.
Yep. Well, man, we're getting there. We're a month in. It's fun. I'm glad that Arccos and the stack system are working with us on this. It makes it easier. It makes it more fun because, like you said, it gives us some structure and guidance on what to do. So I'm excited to hear about your lesson that you're going to get set up. And, next month on course corrections, we will all get a recap of what that looked like and your thoughts on what you were taught versus what you're used to. And then, I've got to work on my approach, my short game. And we'll see if we can keep knocking this thing down. So,
Yeah.
good stuff, man.
Yep.
So, beginning of this journey, I started out ahead. Jonathan's loading up on gear. He's determined more than ever to lower his handicap to get better at golf. Got to keep up. Got to go practice more. Got to go play more. He has now done one thing that I've been suggesting the whole time. So I might be getting a little worried. Stay tuned for the next course corrections by BestBall.